The middleweight division of the UFC continues to heat up as two of its rising contenders, Nassourdine Imavov and Caio Borralho, prepare to collide at UFC Fight Night in Paris. With both fighters riding impressive momentum, this matchup could play a pivotal role in determining the next big name to emerge as a legitimate contender at 185 pounds. And weighing in on the fight is none other than former middleweight champion Israel Adesanya, who recently shared his thoughts and predictions on his YouTube channel. Adesanya, who knows the intricacies of the middleweight division better than most, broke down the fight with measured analysis. According to him, while both men bring unique skill sets to the octagon, he sees Borralho as having the slight edge going into this bout. "I'll pick Caio for this fight," Adesanya stated confidently. "It's a well-matched fight, but I think Caio edges it out. He's been carrying momentum after his big victory over Jared Cannonier, and I believe he'll be able to continue that run." For Adesanya, the key factor will be how each fighter handles the stylistic clash. Borralho is known for his crisp striking and composed approach, while Imavov possesses a more grappling-heavy style. Adesanya predicted that Imavov might look to initiate the grappling exchanges early in order to neutralize Borralho's striking advantage. "I think Imavov will probably shoot first," Adesanya explained. "The hands and footwork from Caio are going to be a bit too much for him to deal with in a pure stand-up battle, so he'll need to mix things up, change levels, and keep Caio guessing. But even with that, I still see Caio taking it on the scorecards." Adesanya's official prediction: a unanimous decision victory for Caio Borralho. The location of the fight also adds an interesting element. With the bout taking place in Paris, Imavov will effectively be fighting in front of a supportive home crowd. While this could be seen as an advantage, Adesanya believes it will have little to no impact on the overall outcome of the contest. "Home court advantage is there," he acknowledged, "but I don't think it'll affect Imavov in a negative or positive way. At the end of the day, it's about execution inside the cage." Ahead of the fight, many fans appear to be leaning toward Adesanya's perspective. As of early fight week, betting odds placed Caio Borralho as a slight favorite on most major U.S. sportsbooks, reflecting the close nature of this matchup. This fight is also significant within the broader middleweight landscape. Alongside contenders like Nassourdine Imavov, Caio Borralho, Reinier de Ridder, and Anthony Hernandez, the division is buzzing with new talent eager to secure their shot at the top, including a potential showdown with the ever-dangerous Khamzat. For Israel Adesanya, his analysis underscores just how competitive the middleweight division has become. With younger fighters rising through the ranks, every matchup carries weight, and a strong performance in Paris could catapult either Imavov or Borralho into title contention. As fight night approaches, all eyes will be on Paris to see if Imavov can use his grappling to disrupt Borralho's momentum, or if Borralho's striking and composure will once again shine under the bright lights. One thing is certain: the UFC middleweight division is alive with talent, and this fight has the potential to reshape the hierarchy in dramatic fashion. Moving to another news. The UFC calendar continues to heat up as fight fans are treated to a wave of new bout announcements across several upcoming events. From fresh debuts to high-stakes clashes between ranked contenders, the next few months promise action-packed cards with plenty of storylines to follow. Let's break down the latest UFC updates. Alan Nascimento vs. Rafael Estevam, UFC Vegas 110 November 1st. The UFC has officially added a compelling flyweight bout to the UFC Vegas 110 card on November 1st, as Alan Nascimento takes on Rafael Estevam. Both fighters enter this matchup riding 3 fight-winning streaks, adding extra intrigue to the contest. Nascimento is fresh off a strong performance against Jafal Filho earlier in May, where he showcased his well-rounded skill set and composure inside the cage. Estevam, meanwhile, is coming in hot after a victory over Felipe Bunis, further proving that he is a dangerous and determined competitor in the division. With both athletes building momentum, this clash could very well determine which fighter takes the next step toward breaking into the rankings. Abdulrahman Yaqub vs. Rafael Cito, UFC Qatar November 23rd. Another exciting addition to the UFC calendar comes in UFC Qatar on November 23rd, where rising prospect Abdulrahman Yaqub will make his official UFC debut against the battle-tested Rafael Cito. Yaqub enters the organization with plenty of buzz following his impressive 32-second knockout victory on Dana White's Contender Series last week. His explosive power and aggressive style have made him one of the most talked-about new names in the promotion. On the other side of the octagon, Rafael Cito faces a much different reality. Currently stuck in a 3-fight losing skid, Cito finds himself in a must-win situation. The stakes couldn't be higher, as another loss could very well determine his future with the company. For Yaqub, it's a chance to make an emphatic statement on the big stage, while for Cito, it's about survival. Brandon Royval vs. Manel Kape, UFC Vegas 112 year-end card, perhaps the most highly anticipated matchup among the newly announced fights, is the flyweight showdown between Brandon Royval and Manel Kape, now set for UFC Vegas 112 at the end of the year. This fight carries layers of backstory, as it has already been scheduled twice before, once in March and again in June, only to fall through both times due to cancellations. Now with the bout finally confirmed, tensions are higher than ever. Royval is looking to rebound after recent setbacks and is determined to re-establish himself as one of the top contenders in the division. Kape, meanwhile, has been vocal about his championship ambitions and sees Royval as the final obstacle on his path toward a title shot. The bad blood between the two ensures that fans can expect fireworks when they finally meet inside the octagon. What's next for the UFC? With these additions, the UFC continues to strengthen its late-year schedule, offering fans compelling storylines across multiple divisions, from surging contenders like Nascimento and Estevam, to the debut of Yakub, to the grudge match between Royval and Kape. Every bout carries significance for both the fighters and the future of their respective divisions. As the countdown to these cards begins, fans can rest assured that the final stretch of the year will deliver high-stakes action, unexpected drama, and potentially career-defining performances. Moving to another news, the MMA community has received uplifting news regarding former UFC fighter and Olympic wrestler Ben Askren, as he recently provided fans with a much-needed update on his health journey. Askren, who underwent a double lung transplant, has been transparent about the challenges he has faced during his recovery. Despite setbacks, he now appears to be making significant progress. Following the transplant, Askren's road to recovery was anything but smooth. He was struck by a serious illness that temporarily stalled his rehabilitation process and raised concerns among supporters about how well he would bounce back. The situation left many fans anxious, as the recovery from such a major procedure is already long and demanding. However, Askren himself has now shared a much more optimistic outlook. In a video posted earlier today, the former MMA star was seen jogging, signaling not just physical improvement, but also mental resilience. This moment marked a huge step forward, as regaining the ability to perform even light exercise is an important milestone for anyone recovering from a lung transplant. His determination to keep pushing forward despite the obstacles has earned him widespread respect and admiration from both fans and fellow fighters. The sight of Askren jogging again serves as a reminder of his enduring grit, the same characteristic that defined his career in wrestling and mixed martial arts. Known for his relentless grappling style and competitive spirit, Askren is now applying that same mindset to his recovery, proving that his fighting spirit extends far beyond the cage. Messages of encouragement have poured in from the MMA world, with many praising Askren for his perseverance. The positive update not only reassures his supporters, but also inspires others who may be going through health struggles of their own. Askren's journey is far from over, but this recent milestone is a strong indication that he is steadily regaining strength and moving toward a healthier future. His willingness to share his story openly also provides hope to those facing similar medical battles, showing that resilience and determination can make a difference even in the toughest circumstances. For now, fans are celebrating the positive turn in his recovery and looking forward to seeing more encouraging updates from Ben Askren in the weeks and months ahead. Moving to another news, Anthony Hernandez reveals Dricus du Plessis's costly mistake against Khamzat Chimaev. UFC 319 delivered one of the most talked-about moments of the year when Khamzat Chimaev defeated former champion Dricus du Plessis's DDP in a dominant fashion to capture the belt. While fans and analysts have dissected the fight from every angle, rising contender Anthony "Fluffy" Hernandez recently shared his own detailed breakdown of what went wrong for du Plessis and how one critical mistake changed the entire outcome. In an interview with MMA Fighting, Hernandez admitted that at first he was surprised to see how quickly momentum shifted in Chimaev's favor. But after studying the fight closely, he pinpointed the main issue: du Plessis relied too heavily on his trademark explosiveness and raw power. "I was surprised until I started watching what DDP was doing," Hernandez explained. "It's like, bro, you're going in with that big explosive strong guy style. That doesn't work against elite wrestlers. They can flow off of that energy, counter it, and wear you down. DDP kind of did it to himself." According to Hernandez, Chimaev capitalized brilliantly on this flaw. Known for his relentless pressure and suffocating top control, the undefeated contender neutralized du Plessis's physicality by constantly forcing him onto the defensive. "Hats off to Khamzat," Hernandez continued. "He kept the pressure on, kept Dricus on his hands, and made sure he couldn't get back to his feet. That's very high-level wrestling." By the second round, it was clear DDP had no answers left. He was still trying to flex and power his way out, but it wasn't working. That's when I realized it was only going one way. The result not only cemented Chimaev's status as one of the most dangerous fighters in the sport, but also highlighted the limitations of Du Plessis's approach. While DDP has built his career on overwhelming opponents with sheer aggression and power, Hernandez believes that style is unsustainable against elite grapplers who thrive in chaos. Hernandez himself has been riding a strong winning streak, with a notable victory over Reinier de Ridder, and has his eyes on climbing further into middleweight title contention. With momentum on his side, Fluffy made it clear that he would welcome the chance to test his own grappling skills against Chimaev someday. After beating guys like de Ridder, "I know I can hang with top-level grapplers," Hernandez said. "If the opportunity comes, I'd love to show what I can do against someone like Khamzat." As the middleweight division heats up, Chimaev's dominant performance at UFC 319 and Hernandez's rapid rise add even more intrigue to the title picture. With fighters like Du Plessis, Hernandez, and other contenders waiting for their shot, the road ahead promises exciting matchups and stylistic clashes that could reshape the division. For now, Hernandez's breakdown provides valuable insight into why Chimaev prevailed so decisively and serves as a lesson for future opponents. Against an elite wrestler, raw explosiveness alone won't cut it. Looking forward to seeing more encouraging updates from Ben Askren in the weeks and months ahead. Moving to another news. Khabib Nurmagomedov's private conversation about Islam Makhachev gets leaked. A recent revelation from Josh Thompson, former UFC fighter, longtime friend of Khabib Nurmagomedov, and co-host of Weighing In podcast, has sent shockwaves through the MMA community. According to Thompson, private text messages from Khabib himself suggest that the legendary undefeated champion harbors concerns over Islam Makhachev's move to welterweight, where he will challenge Jack Della Maddalena JDM in one of the most anticipated fights of the year. While many analysts and fans view this as a winnable fight for Makhachev, Team Khabib's tone is much more cautious. For context, Nurmagomedov dominated the lightweight division during his career, but despite teasing a move to 170 pounds alongside his late father, Abdulmanap, he never made the jump. At the time, the division was ruled by Kamaru Usman, a dominant wrestler who stylistically posed a serious threat. The risk-to-reward balance simply didn't make sense, especially with Khabib already carrying an undefeated legacy. Now the welterweight throne is held by a dangerous striker rather than a suffocating wrestler. This shift makes the opportunity more attractive for Makhachev, but it doesn't erase the challenge. Khabib himself acknowledged as much in the private conversation, which Thompson revealed on his podcast. Thompson explained, "I was texting with Khabib yesterday, and he said this is going to be Islam's toughest fight, no doubt about it. JDM is explosive, he's really good on the feet, and while his takedown defense isn't the best, his ability to get back up once taken down is phenomenal. Plus, he's physically a big body, and that size is going to play a factor." At 34 years old, Islam Makhachev is fully aware that his time at the top is limited. Unlike younger fighters climbing the ranks, he cannot afford a crushing loss that derails his momentum. Thompson emphasized this point, noting that Makhachev wants to go out on his own terms, not as a fighter whose career ended in disappointment. Still, Khabib has not lost faith in his protege. In the leaked conversation, he highlighted that Makhachev regularly trains with athletes larger than JDM, including fighters at 205 pounds, and still manages to dominate. The key difference, according to Khabib, is that Islam looks much stronger and sharper when he is not depleted by the brutal weight cut required at lightweight. That extra energy could be the X factor at 170. The leaked comments reveal a fascinating duality. On one hand, Team Khabib recognizes the stylistic advantages Islam brings: world-class wrestling, relentless pressure, and experience against bigger training partners. On the other hand, they are not underestimating Jack Della Maddalena's striking arsenal, speed and resilience in getting back to his feet. For fans, this leaked insight raises the stakes even higher. If Khabib, arguably the most dominant lightweight in MMA history, believes this will be Islam's toughest challenge, then the anticipation for UFC 322 at Madison Square Garden only grows. Makhachev has long been seen as Khabib's successor, carrying the Dagestani wrestling legacy into a new era, but stepping into welterweight means entering a division where physicality, power, and unpredictability can quickly flip the script. In the end, Thompson summed it up best: this fight isn't just another title bout, it's a test of whether Islam Makhachev can extend his dominance into a second weight class. And for the first time, even Team Khabib admits there's genuine risk.